What is going on, guys? It is Constable Chen coming back at you with another Madden 17 video. Today we are doing another request rebuild. I think I got this request twice from Brandon and another person. I'm not sure what the guy's name was, but he said build a team with 30 plus year old players for each 3 years. So basically what that means is I can't draft because those players are too young. So I have to basically build this team through trades and free agency, and I can only pick up players that are 30 plus years old. So definitely going to be difficult because those players are going to be regressing. They're not going to be going up in overall. So it's going to be a definite challenge. So I'm going to be having to trade away basically a lot of players on this Saints team. You know, hopefully Drew Brees can maybe stick around for a couple years. I guess I should have picked maybe a quarterback that was just 30 years old, but Brees is 37, so he might retire after this year. But I think he sticks around for 2 years in this game. So I'm going to do a lot of trades. I'll only show you guys maybe the top trades because I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff. I'll be also picking up a lot of free agents, I'm guessing. So we will pick it up with you guys at my first trade. So with my first trade, I traded the young, talented Brandon Cooks for Adrian Peterson. At trade 2, I'm trading Delvin Breaux, Kyle Wilson, and a 4th round pick this year for the 33-year-old phenom Larry Fitzgerald. He's still getting it done to this day. On my next trade, I traded Nick Fairley straight out for Andrew Whitworth, left tackle from the Bengals. He is 34 years old. At my next trade, I traded Mark Ingram, Sterling Moore, and my backup right end for Jarrell Freeman from the Chicago Bears. He's 30 years old and the Bears' 1st round pick next year. So I traded my left guard, Tim Lelito, 82 overall. He's 27 for the big man, Haloti Ngata from the Detroit Lions. I traded Kobe Fleener, Garrett Grayson, and a 4th round pick next year to the Houston Texans in exchange for veteran Jonathan Joseph at cornerback. So I'm trading Willie Snead and David Onyemata to the Detroit Lions in exchange for 30-year-old free safety Glover Quinn. Next trade, Sheldon Rankins, a 2nd and a 6th round pick are going to the Cardinals in exchange for the big man Calais Campbell, right end, 89 overall. My next trade, I think I'm going to go with a younger quarterback, 32-year-old Aaron Rodgers over the 37-year-old Drew Brees. So I picked him up in a trade featuring Teron Armstead at left tackle, Cameron Jordan at left end, and a 3rd round draft pick this year. So the Packers now needed a quarterback, so I gave him Drew Brees, who had a cap hit of like $22.3 million. So I sent that to Green Bay in exchange for Clay Matthews and Mason Crosby, both players over 30 years old. This trade, Craig Robertson, John Jenkins, a 7th round pick this year, are heading to Green Bay for another trade for Jordy Nelson, wide receiver, 31-year-old, 90 overall. So Josh Hill, 2nd next year, and a cornerback are heading to the New York Jets in exchange for Darrell Revis. Revis Island is joining the team, 89 overall player. So Jarius Byrd, Daniel Ellerbe, and PJ Williams at cornerback are heading to Cleveland in exchange for big Joe Thomas, left tackle. Trading Pete, my left guard, a 5th and a 6th round pick next year is going to Derek Johnson. That heart and soul of that Kansas City defense is coming to the Saints. Stephon Anthony, my left outside linebacker, 2 7th round picks next year are going to the Bengals in exchange for Adam Pac-Man Jones at cornerback. So I'm trading Nathan Stupar, left outside linebacker, tight end and a middle linebacker is heading to Tampa Bay in exchange for Robert Ayers Jr., a right end from the Bucks. So Kenny Vaccaro, straight up trade, is getting sent to the Cleveland Browns in exchange for Gary Barnidge, tight end, 88 overall, 30-year-old player. Savon Bell is getting sent out to New York in exchange for Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, 81 overall cornerback. So this is what the team is looking like heading into year 1 with a old 30-plus-year-old roster. Unfortunately, they didn't have basically any 30-year-olds in free agency, so I only have 2 wide receivers, like 1 tight end, like 1 middle linebacker, 3 corners. So I'm guessing when I start simming, the computer is going to auto-sign some guys. But by next year, like in the offseason and free agency, I will have an old 30-plus-year-old team. But this this year, free agency just didn't have that much 30-year-old guys in it. So this is what the team's looking like. It's actually half decent, really. The O-line's pretty good. Joe Thomas, Whitworth, Max Unger, Jahari Evans, and Strife. So pretty good O-line. Gary Barnes at tight end. Jordy Nelson and Larry Fitzgerald are the only receivers I have on my team. Adrian Peterson and Tim Hightower. Is Hightower 30? Yeah, he's 30. Aaron Rodgers, Luke McCowan, and Brandon Whedon are my quarterbacks. John Kuntz, fullback. Defense side of the ball, linebacker core is pretty good. Clay Matthews, Derek Johnson, Jarrell Freeman. D-line, Robert Harris, Lodi Nada, Calais Campbell, and Paul Kruger. My 3 cornerbacks are Jonathan Joseph, Dominic Rodgers Cromartie, and Pac-Man Jones. Glover Quinn, strong safety, and Darrell Revis is my free safety. So the only bad thing about these old players is they're getting paid a lot of money, which kind of sucks. So I'm just going to double check that everyone on my team is 30. My youngest player is 30, and the oldest player is Luke McCowan at 35s. So, like I said, probably going to have some younger players get re-signed or signed up by the computer because I don't have a full roster. But by next year, we will have everyone over 30. So we will sim right to... No, we'll go to the midseason, and we'll see if we have to do any re-signing. So at the midseason mark, I don't even know what our record is. Let's take a look here. We're 6-1, so we're doing good. I guess, yeah, the computer signed like Eli Rogers and some other guys at positions. But I was just taking a look at my money issues, and these old players are costing me a fortune. Like, I can't even re-sign Whitworth. Like, I would be negative $14.8 million. So, all these guys are going to free agency, which sucks, but we will keep on simming right to the playoffs. So, here we are in the wild card. We're 13-3 in year 1. Aaron Rodgers is a 99 overall. So, we'll take a look at some stats and then do some player progression, maybe a little bit. We'll take a look at awards too. But Aaron Rodgers, 5,069 yards, 42 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Rushing, Adrian Peterson, 1,750 yards and 17 touchdowns. Receiving, Jordy Nelson, 106 catches, 1,158 yards and 10 touchdowns. Larry Fitzgerald, 105 catches, 1,388 yards and 8 touchdowns. Defense was Clay Matthews leading the way with 142 tackles. Tackles for loss was Haloti Nada with 9. And quarterback sacks with Robert Ayers Jr. with 13. So pretty good year by the guys. So let's take a look at some yearly awards. Aaron Rodgers is your MVP. Coach of the year was Take It to the Limit. That's the coach I created. In the NFC, Aaron Rodgers Offensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year was Clay Matthews. Often we don't have any rookies. Best quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Best running back, Adrian Peterson. Best wide receiver, Larry Fitzgerald. O-line, Joe Thomas. D-line, Brandon Graham. Best linebacker, Luke Kuechly. Defensive back with Josh Norman. And best kicker was Robbie Gould. So we walked away with a lot of awards this year. So we will jump into this playoff game against the 10-6 Seahawks, and we will see if we move on. So we are playing in Seattle in this playoff game. I really don't expect much. Seattle is a powerhouse, and, my team's full of old geezers. But, they're pretty good. Older players are usually better because they are already developed. But looks like the Seattle Seahawks are going to run away with this game in the wild card in year 1. 34-20 is your final, but this team will be back in the playoffs. Don't you worry. And we're going to kick off the offseason. I'm going to be signing a lot of free agents and can't even do the draft, and then we will jump into year 2. So in the free agency recap, basically just loaded up on veteran players. I'm not going to name all of them, but as I scroll through, you can see all these old timers I added to my team. I got them all for basically a reduced price because no one else was bidding on them. So what I do is just sign up for like 3 or 4 year deals at $550,000 and no bonus, and I still have 41.9 million cap space. So we got a lot of money to play with. So let's jump into year 2 and maybe make a couple more trades. So we're kicking off year number 2. We're going to be trying to do some trades here. So number 1, I traded a first round pick this year for Aqib Talib, 31-year-old cornerback from the Denver Broncos. Trade number 2, we're trading a 2nd and a 4th round pick next year, and that is going to the Baltimore Ravens in exchange for Marshall Yanda, a 32-year-old, 95 overall right guard. I traded a third, a fifth, and a sixth round pick next year to Kansas City in exchange for my favorite player in the league, Jamal Charles, running back, 30, I think he is 30 years old, 88 overall. So I'm trading for Eric Decker, wide receiver. He just turned 30 in year 2 here. So I traded a first this year, 7th next year, and a 66 overall cornerback. I'm sending a first-round pick to the Tennessee Titans in exchange for Brian Arakpo, a 31-year-old right outside linebacker. And with probably my final trade in year 2, I traded a first this year, Nate Gardner and Ziggy Hood, both got those players in free agency. For wide receiver, 30-year-old Emmanuel Sanders is joining the team. So I will show you guys my team in just a second. Alright guys, so this is what this 30-plus-year-old team's looking like heading into year 2. It's actually pretty good. Aaron Rodgers, 97, AP, 90, Jamal Charles, 88, Emmanuel Sanders, 87, Jordy Nelson, 87, Eric Decker is also an 87, Gary Barnidge went down to an 82. O-line, half decent, still got Joe Thomas, Marshall Yanda holding it down there, Unger. Defensively, alright as well. Robert Ayers, 79, McClendon, 76, Lodinana, 78, Arakpo, 87, Paul Kruger backing him up. Matthews, 88, Laurinaitis at middle linebacker is a 73, and Jarrell Freeman, 86. Glover Quinn at strong safety, Jarrell Rivas at free safety. I got some pretty good corners in Talib at 89, Jonathan Joseph, 87, and Pac-Man Jones, 83. Also have Roger Cromartie coming in at a 79. So the players aren't really getting better. They kind of go down, so I try to get them when they're still good. So when they do start coming down, they're still pretty good players. So this is what the team's looking like heading into year 2. I'm going to sim to the midseason mark, and we will see who we have to re-sign. So here we are at the midpoint of year 2. We are 8-8 on the year. You know, good veteran players on this team, so, you know, I knew we were going to be doing good. So let's try to do some re-signings. I'm not sure if I'll have any money. Adrian Peterson. Yeah, I got some cash. I got to sign AP, my 2 running backs, him and Charles, Jonathan Joseph, Glover Quinn, Clarence Stanley, and Haloti Nada I'm not too concerned about. So I'll try to get at least these 4 guys. So after doing some re-signing, I re-signed AP, Jamal Charles, also Glover Quinn. You know, the thing with old cornerbacks, they want money. Jonathan Joseph, I think he's asking for 1 year for 7.78 million plus bonus, so 10.3 million just for 1 year of play. I am not going to be paying that, so he's going to go to free agency. As for Carlos Stanley and Haloti Nada, same thing there. So I re-signed Glover Quinn and 2 running backs. So let's keep on simming right to the playoffs, and we'll see if we play in the wild card or the divisional. So in the playoffs, we do play in the divisional. We were 1 win shy of our record last year. Last year we were 13-3, but we finished 12-4, which is still very good. So we'll take a look at some stats, then some awards. Really, spending player XP is kind of pointless at this stage in player's career because everything costs so much money. So I just simulate that. So Aaron Rodgers, 4,946 yards, 36 touchdowns to 18 interceptions. Sorry, rushing. Adrian Peterson, 1,592 yards and 24 touchdowns. He could still do it. Eric Decker, 102 catches, 1,082 yards, 9 touchdowns. Emmanuel Sanders, 1,271 yards, 12 touchdowns. And Jordy Nelson, 1,240 yards and 7 receiving touchdowns. Defense, James Laurinaitis led the way with 126 tackles. Quarterback sacks was Brian Arakpo with 14. Robert Ayers had 10. And interceptions was Darrell Rivas with 2, Clay Matthews with 2, Aqib Talib with 2, Laurinaitis with 2, and Pac-Man Jones also had 2. So let's take a look at some awards here. Russell Wilson is your MVP. Aaron Rodgers was number 3 on the list. Coach of the Year was Mike Mularkey from the Titans. In the NFC, Peterson was 3rd in Offensive Player. Defensive Player was Luke Kuechly. Laurinaitis was 3rd. We don't have any rookies. Best quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Best running back, Adrian Peterson. Best wide receiver, Julio Jones. Best O-line, Marshall Yanda. Best D-line, Olivier Vernon. Best linebacker, Alec Ogletree. Best defensive back, Josh Norman. And best kicker is Chris Boswell. So I'm going to sim this player progression, and then we will jump into this divisional game. So in this divisional game, looks like it's going to come down to the wire, but not really because I think we're going to lose this game. 24-19 is your final. We lost in the divisional to the Atlanta Falcons. So another early exit in the playoffs, but hopefully next year we could go deeper and possibly win a Super Bowl. So we're going to do some more free agency. Hopefully there's some big names in there, and then we'll jump into year 3, hopefully with some big trades, and then we will pick it up there. So we are kicking off year number 3 with going to be a couple trades here. So Joe Thomas is heading to the Bengals, and a first rounder this year for AJ Green, who just turned 30 this year in this league. So probably going to be trading back for Joe Thomas because he's a very good player. So probably do that later, but I'm going to look around for a couple more receivers. With my next trade, I'm trading Jamal Charles and a second-round pick next year for McCourty and Edelman from the Patriots. I traded William Gay, third and a fourth next year for Joe Thomas. Got him back on the team. I used him just to get AJ Green on the team. I traded Vinny Curry and Mike Neal. I got these two players in free agency for the Tennessee Titans first-round pick this year. And with this trade, I'm trading Paul Kruger, a 5th and 6th round pick next year for the Atlanta Falcons first round pick this year. With this trade, I'm trading Rob Ayers and a first rounder next year for Ndamukong Suh, 92 overall defensive tackle from the Miami Dolphins. This is a pretty big one. Antonio Brown, 97 overall wide receiver from the Pittsburgh Steelers, is joining this old-timer team in exchange for Julian Edelman and 2 first-round picks this year. And with this trade, Eric Decker, straight-up deal for Delaney Walker, 34-year-old tight end from the Tennessee Titans. With this trade, I traded Gary Barnidge for Josh Sitton and Willie Young from the Chicago Bears. So those are all the trades I'm going to be doing in year 3. The team's looking actually pretty decent. This is definitely a hard challenge. You know, players aren't getting better. They're going down in their career, so it's hard having all these old-timers on their team. So this is what it's going to look like. Aaron Rodgers is our quarterback, 95. AP, still a monster, 86 overall. I got 3 good wide receivers, Antonio Brown, Emmanuel Sanders, and AJ Green. Delaney Walker at tight end. O-line is half decent. Joe Thomas, Josh Sitton, Max Unger, Marshall Yanda, and Sebastian Vollmer are going to be blocking my quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Defensively, not as good. Willie Young, left end. McClendon, defensive tackle with Ndamukong Suh, and Brian Orakpo at right end. Middle linebacker, Lawrence Timmons, 77. Jarrell Freeman is an 84 at left outside, and Clay Matthews is an 86 right outside linebacker. Strong safety, I traded for Devin McCourty. Free safety, I switched Darrell Reeves from cornerback to free safety a couple years ago. Talib, Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, Jonathan Joseph, and Brandon Flowers are my cornerbacks. My kicker is Mason Crosby, and my punter is Thomas Morstead. So this is what the team's looking like. Hopefully I could go deeper in the playoffs and possibly win that Super Bowl. If I don't, it's fine, but this is definitely a difficult challenge. If you guys want to try it out for yourself and tell me how you did, let me know in the comment section. But I'm going to sim ahead. We're ready to go, and we will pick it up with you guys in the playoffs. So here we are in the playoffs in year 3. We finished off the year 14-2. So in year 1 we went 13-3, and then 12-4, and then 14-2. So we're getting better. Team's looking pretty good. Aaron Rodgers still elite quarterback in this league. So we'll take a look at some stats and then awards, and we'll start this playoffs. So Aaron Rodgers, 4,900, I believe I saw. It's loading. So Rodgers, 4,900, 84 yards, 36 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Rushing. Receiving, we have Antonio Brown with 104 catches, 1,525 yards, 12 touchdowns. AJ Green, 97 catches, 1,241 yards, 7 touchdowns. And Emmanuel Sanders, 84 catches for 1,172 yards and 8 touchdowns. So the triplets there, very good year catching the ball. And defensively, we have Lawrence Timmons with 138 tackles. Quarterback sacks, Willie Young, very good acquisition, 24.5 sacks. Brandon Orakpo, 17.5, and Ndamukong Suh had 10. Interceptions was 2. A lot of guys had 2. So let's take a look at some awards. Yearly awards here. MVP, Aaron Rodgers, back where he should be. Coach of the Year was Gus Bradley in the NFC. Aaron Rodgers is the offensive player in the NFC. Defensive was Willie Young, offensive rookie. Don't have to worry about that. Best quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Best running back, Ezekiel Elliott. Wide receiver, Antonio Brown. O-line, Marshall Yanda and Joe Thomas. Best D-line, Willie Young. Best linebacker, Trevathan. Best defensive back is Desmond Trufant, and best kicker is Steven Hauschka. So I'll sim this player XP, and then we'll jump into this playoff game. So here we are in the divisional round against the Atlanta Falcons. Hopefully we could finally push to the Super Bowl and maybe even win it. That would be pretty sweet. It looks like this game is going to be coming to the end, and we just pulled it out there at the end. Wow, that was close. But, you know, I got a lot of veterans on this team. They've been around the block. So we are moving on to the conference. So here we are in the conference championship game. We match up against the 12-4 Rams. They've got good players, you know, Todd Gurley, Jared Goff. They are rated 85 overall compared to this 89 overall veterans team. And looks like, I think we got the best of them there. I just didn't look at the score, but I think it was 45-10, and we are moving on. We actually beat them pretty good. So 45-10 is your final in the conference. We're moving on to the Super Bowl in year 3 with these 30-year-old plus players. We will see you guys there. So we are in the Super Bowl against the 12-4 Dolphins. They're only 80 overall. They don't belong here. But we're 89 overall with, it's like a beer league hockey team your dad would play on. Just a bunch of old timers. They're out here having fun, you know, messing around with these young guys. Looks like, you know, they got the best of them. We're going to win this in year 3. 42-17 is our final. This is a pretty neat challenge. You know, it's definitely difficult. And the Super Bowl MVP is going to be Antonio Brown with 8 catches for 218 and 2 touchdowns. The 30-year-old has still got some jump in those legs. So that is going to do it for this video, guys. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Keep commenting on different stuff you want to see, and eventually I will get to them. So thanks again for Brandon D. And another guy commented to do this 30-plus-year-old challenge. So thanks to you as well. And thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you in the next video.